Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well. I've done a recent video on dividends versus growth, but this one is totally focused on beginners. Now I gotta mention that I've put together a beginner's cheat sheet on my personal website, which I will link in the description below, putting together questions from beginners on Blossom, very commonly asked. And my answers are based on academic theory and studies. If you follow my channel, you would know this. For the answers, I will link to specific papers, to advice given from actual licensed advisors. Everything is based in theory. I really don't have a personal opinion on a lot of these questions. I'm just doing all the work of putting together the advice that's recommended by professionals to you in an easy and digestible way. So the inspiration for this video is due to a post on Blossom from Simba, or at FatDogSimba, who posts, "Hi, I hope you're all well. I'm 22 years old and new to investing. I read here and there that I should be investing $500 a month to help set up for my retirement for when I'm 65 plus years old. Currently, I'm using TD Direct Investing, but I'm not exactly sure where to start. Should I be investing $500 a month to a VFV through my TFSA or RSP? How does it compound? Since TD Direct Investing doesn't allow fractional shares, so I just hold the cash from dividends until I can buy an extra VFV share to reinvest." I'm not really sure where he got the $500 a month, but that's a really good start for a 22-year-old. I mean, it depends on your job, on your income, but very strong start indeed. So the first thing that comes to mind is, just open a Wealthsimple account that has the ability to buy fractional shares. But if you're comfortable with TD Direct Investing and you want to just stay with that one account, then that is what I would do. Now, the reason why this post inspired me is the question, how does it compound? And it's also a discussion I had not too long ago on Blossom with someone who really didn't understand why someone would want growth stocks or dividend, because dividend stocks are easier to understand. Basically, you buy a dividend stock, they make profit, and they share some of that profit with you. And when it comes to growth stocks, a beginner would be like, where does the profit come from? Do I have to sell at a certain point and things like that? And I can see where the confusion lies, and I'm here to clear up some of that confusion. So I always preach on this channel to look at everything from a total return perspective. You include the dividends that you get along with the value of the company. So when you think about dividend stocks, the warning I usually give, because people think they're getting free money, would be, okay, let's just think of a random example. Let's say a dividend stock is like a restaurant. It's making money and you're getting paid every month. It's sharing the profits with you as a shareholder, but the value of the company itself might have tanked over time. That could be due to increased cost, increased competition. There's many things that could affect that. And that means that even if you're getting paid dividends and they come from earnings or profits or revenue, that you might still be down money overall. So if we take the example of Enbridge, and if you started investing at the beginning of this year, you would have been down money. So just remember that it's dividend payments plus capital appreciation, or plus the value of the company. You have to take the total return into account. But if you zoom out, Enbridge has, of course, been killing it. All I'm trying to do for the beginner is for them to be aware, if they're buying a dividend stock today, a dividend ETF today, that these different scenarios, because it is a common misconception that beginners have, that dividend payers it's just free money and you're not losing value, when you could be. It all depends on how it affects the overall value of the company. Moving on to a growth stock like Amazon, I get why it's easier to understand dividend stocks. Dividend stocks share their profits with their shareholders, whereas Amazon has decided to reinvest all those profits back into the company so it can expand, make more money, whatever the reason might be. The natural question is, which one's better, dividend or growth? From a total return perspective, if you look at both from a total return, dividends plus capital appreciation for dividend stocks and just capital appreciation for growth stocks, there isn't an obvious answer. And in a paper that I analyzed in a recent video, it just shows that in this graph, there's just different periods of time where a dividend strategy did better and different periods of time where a more growth strategy did better. Here's another Blossom post I wanted to talk about really quick. If you were, typo here, 18 today, starting a new TFSA, maybe maxed out every year, what investment strategy do you believe will give you the highest returns for retirement at 60? Dividend stocks, growth stock, dividend ETFs, growth ETFs. Now, we just saw the paper I referenced. No one knows between these two which will provide the best. It's not the best way to separate stocks and decide a strategy. Now, there are a lot of people on Blossom that brand themselves as dividend investors or just growth investors only, and they're doing fine, which is great. But for a beginner, I think it has the possibility of being bad advice, because why do you need to restrict yourself to one style of stock? You don't need to do that. And that's why I'm an XEQT. I believe in global diversification, which is backed by academic research. I'm not trying to divide between growth and dividend stocks. I just try to own the market as best as I can. And the amount of growth or dividend stocks that I have is really dictated by how many there are in the market. Right now, there's way more growth stocks. So that's why XEQT has way more growth stocks and might have lower dividend yield than a dividend strategy. So I have VCN on my browser right now because if you believe in academic research and the concept of global diversification, you know that you need a piece of Canada as part of your portfolio. And VCN gives us a quick shortcut to see what that market is comprised of. It's comprised of a lot of financials and energy stocks. The top 10 holdings include Royal Bank, TD. We talked about Enbridge and other Canadian banks. Like all the Canadian banks are almost, I think all of them or most of them are in the top 10 and they're dividend paying stocks. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not differentiating. I'm not deciding if I'm a dividend or growth investor. I'm looking at what the market has, and Canada's comprised of that, mostly dividend stocks. And that's why I'll have some dividend stocks in my portfolio. And that's why it's part of XEQT. Overall, that's how I think beginners should view investing. They don't need to label themselves as a specific investor. And over time, you might change different style. You might need different things. You might need to tilt your portfolio to be safer as you get closer to that retirement age. Lastly, one comment about compounding. I think in the dividend space, it's very common to talk about dividend snowball and stuff like that make you feel like you need to be in dividend stocks to start that avalanche. But that is not the case. So let me show explain why this S&P 500 ETF that we're looking at, which traditionally has really low dividend yield. Last I checked, maybe 2% or less. And you can see that graph going all the way up because overall, the US economy has grown, and we need to look at everything from a total value perspective. And what that means is that to compound, to accelerate that portfolio growth that you have, what's the most important thing is that you're adding money into your account consistently, whether it's dividend stocks or growth stocks. That's what's going to be making it grow. So someone that has been consistently putting it into the S&P 500 is compounding because the US economy was compounding. The value of those companies have been going up. And yeah, that's why, again, I fight for this division between dividend stocks and growth stocks to not be so divisive. It doesn't really matter. What matters is your total return, and what matters is your portfolio value when you're ready to retire. So hope that helps. And if not, please leave any questions in the comments below.